Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for tonight's meditation as well as Dhamma talk from Bhante Suddhāso. And hello so far to Elaine, Kristen, Mike, Ron, Kumu, Jens, Denise, how's our friend, Adine, Ayo Vimalanyani. Good to see you, Venerable. Thanks for joining. And Catherine and Yudi. And Mark, we have a very interactive chat so far, which is great. So good to see everyone, as well as those of you watching but not typing just yet. So tonight, Bhante Suddhāso will be leading us in some meditation, followed by Dhamma talk. And if you have questions at any time, feel free to type them into the chat, and we'll address them at the end of the talk. So at this time, I'll pass things over to Bhante Suddhāso for tonight's session.
Okay, so you can go ahead and get in meditation posture. So settling into an upright position. And bringing a slight smile to your lips. Take a few long, slow, deep breaths. With each breath, letting the body and mind relax. Taking a moment just to enjoy not doing anything. So right now, there's nothing we need to think about, nothing we need to plan, nothing we need to say, nothing we need to do. We can just enjoy this moment of not doing anything. Then, when you're ready, bring to mind someone who you care about very strongly. Someone who you love in a simple way, an uncomplicated way. Someone who, when you think about them, your heart melts a little bit. You just want them to be happy. There's no expectation, no demand, no disappointment, no resentment, just goodwill. So, this might be your cat or a dog. It might be your sister or a very close friend. It might be a parent, grandparent, or other relative. So it doesn't matter what the person's relationship to you is or what their species is. What matters is that it's someone who you care about in a very simple, uncomplicated, untainted way. Often pets are better for this than humans. It doesn't matter the species. So bring this person to mind, letting that little smile on your lips get a little bit bigger. As you think of the one you care about, and start wishing for them to be happy. So this should be easy. You should be choosing the person who it's very easy to want them to be happy. You just start silently wishing, may they be happy. May they be healthy. May they be safe. Keeping a nice big smile on your face as you think about the one you love. That simple, pure, childlike love of just wanting them to be happy. No strings attached, no conditions. May they be happy. May they be healthy. May they be safe. If you find your mind bringing up multiple people and you can't seem to settle on one of them, that's okay. You can let your mind flit from person to person as long as you just keep producing this sincere, warm hearted, unconditional wish. May they be happy. May they be healthy. May they be safe. As you practice in this way, pay attention to the feeling that arises in the mind. That warm, gentle, joyful feeling of benevolence, of goodwill, of loving kindness. That feeling itself is metta. So keep building up that feeling, intensifying that feeling of benevolence. And as that warm, gentle, loving feeling grows stronger and stronger, you can let the specific thoughts of certain beings start to fade away. Just focusing on the feeling of loving kindness itself. You can still keep the words, and still keep quietly thinking, may they be happy, may they be healthy, may they be safe. But without the thought of any particular person, any particular being. Just keep magnifying and intensifying the feeling of benevolence with that big smile on your face, that happy heart. Until you let even the words fade away. And there's just the bright, limitless, all pervasive feeling of goodwill itself. No boundaries of self or other, no boundaries of inside and outside, just benevolence, just goodwill, just metta. Just keep focusing on maintaining and magnifying the feeling of metta. If it starts fading, you can boost it just by thinking, may everyone be happy. Just repeating that thought a few times. Or if you lose it entirely, you can go back to your favorite person and start over. That's okay too. But if you can, just focus on the pure feeling of metta without concepts of persons or beings, without the idea of me and them, just focusing on the feeling of universal, unconditional benevolence, building it up with every breath, intensifying it with every moment, enjoying every moment of metta. Such a pleasant state of mind. Okay, you can adjust your posture.
So thank you, Bhante, for guiding us in that meditation. And welcome to some more friends joining in, including Mary, our neighbor, Manuel, Linda, Angela, Amaranta, and Kevin. So good to see you all. And so at this time, I'll turn things back over to Bhante Suddhāso for tonight's Dhamma talk.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. Good evening, friends. So we just did a period of metta meditation, loving kindness meditation. And it was actually so pleasant and peaceful that I don't actually want to talk at this point. I just want to keep practicing meditation. Which is actually a sign that a meditation period goes well, is when you don't actually really want to do anything afterwards except be quiet, be awake, be alert. I'm getting hand gestures that I'm talking too quietly. Another sign that your meditation went well is when you want to be quiet afterwards. So metta practice, commonly translated as loving kindness, which is a perfectly fine translation. You'll also sometimes see it translated as friendliness, or as goodwill, or as benevolence. And these are all good translations that help to bring out the meaning of this word. But of course, what we're interested in is not the word, but rather the underlying mind state. So one thing which really needs to be emphasized is that metta is a state of mind. So it's a feeling, a mental, emotional feeling that we're trying to cultivate, that we're trying to develop. And one of the ways that we do that is through meditation exercises. But before I go into more detail on that, I want to emphasize that metta is also something that we do. It's something that we seek to produce and maintain all the time. And that's also something that we use as a basis for activity. There's a number of suttas where the Buddha talks about performing physical acts of loving kindness, verbal acts of loving kindness, and mental acts of loving kindness. So what we're doing in meditation practice is only the third kind, only mental acts of loving kindness, which is still wonderful. And in fact, it helps to form the basis for the other two. But the Buddha also says that we should do bodily acts of loving kindness and verbal acts of loving kindness. So actually doing kind, benevolent, loving things, saying kind, loving, benevolent things, not just thinking them. I remember I met one person a few years back who presented himself as this amazing metta teacher and this amazing practitioner of metta meditation. Also claimed to have a special proprietary style of meditation, which gets jhana ultra fast. Guaranteed in 10 days, only $9.99. Anyway, so he presented himself as this amazing metta teacher, amazing metta meditator with super special, ultra effective metta meditation. He was a jerk. Really, really unpleasant, nasty person. So maybe he was good at producing mental acts of loving kindness. Jury's out on that one. Actually, the jury's pretty sure he wasn't doing that either. But maybe I'm willing to give him the possibility that he actually could do metta meditation in his mind. But he seems to have skipped the other two domains of activity. So physical acts of loving kindness and verbal acts of loving kindness. In fact, another teacher, their name, I can't remember off the top of my head who it was who said this, but another Buddhist monastic I know said that if compassion is not manifesting in your actions, then you're not practicing compassion. In other words, compassion is not just a meditation practice to produce samadhi. Compassion is a state of mind that should influence everything that we do. And loving kindness is a slightly different mind state than compassion, but it's quite similar. And there's a similar principle here in operation, which is that if we're actually developing metta, then it will influence everything that we say and everything that we do. But that all starts in the mind. So if we're sitting here thinking how much we hate that guy who did that annoying thing that we don't like, is that a mind of loving kindness? Is that a mind of metta? No, it's not. Is that going to inspire us to say loving, gentle, caring things to that person? No, in fact, probably the opposite. Is it going to encourage us to perform generous, benevolent acts for that person? No, not a chance. So these are all interconnected, because also when we make a conscious effort to do kind, gentle, caring, loving things for someone, when we make that effort, then that also makes it easier for us to have a mental attitude of loving kindness, a mental attitude of benevolence. Similarly, maybe you just really don't like someone and you don't want to be around them, and you definitely don't want to say nice things to them, but you force yourself. You force yourself to be polite. You force yourself to be friendly. You force yourself to say kind words. And something starts to transform in the mind. When you do verbal acts of loving kindness, then your mind starts to align with benevolence. Your mind starts to drift towards benevolence. So these three domains of metta, so body metta, speech metta, and mind metta, are all interconnected and intersupporting. So again, this is one way of checking how good is your metta, is whether or not it's actually coming out in your body and your speech. That's actually a great way to check. But also it's a way of supporting your practice. Intentionally perform physical acts of metta. Intentionally say gentle, benevolent, loving things. Then it will be easier to cultivate a mind of metta. And again, metta, the mind of metta is not just what we do during meditation. So if you're sitting there during meditation and you're thinking, oh, may everyone be happy, may everyone be happy, may everyone be happy. And you get up from meditation and you're like, I hate that jerk. They left the window open again. How dare they? Well, is that a mind of loving kindness, or is that a mind of hating unkindness? What are you cultivating with your mind as you go throughout your day? When you're sweeping the floor, are you thinking, oh, may everyone enjoy walking on a clean floor? Or are you thinking, I hate that damn monk who assigned me to sweep. I don't want to sweep. I hate working. What is this working nonsense? I should be meditating, not working. Well, what is that? Is that a mind of loving kindness? Is that cultivating wholesome mind states that lead to liberation? This is not a trick question, by the way. The answer is pretty clear, pretty straightforward. The answer is no, in case you weren't clear on this one. So what are you doing with your mind? Is it benevolent? Is it kind? Is it loving? Is it gentle? What are you doing with your mind? And what are you doing with your speech? Is your speech loving and kind and caring and gentle? That doesn't necessarily mean you say what the person wants to hear. Sometimes the most loving, benevolent thing you can do is to tell somebody what they don't want to hear. Sometimes. But just watch your mind. Make sure you're not doing that intentionally just to dig in the knife a little bit. Because sometimes we play those games with ourselves as well. We say, oh, I'm saying it for their own good. They need to hear this. It's for their benefit. And I just love to make them squirm. So when the mind gets in that kind of little like nasty Schadenfreude, it's like, ooh, wait, that's not metta. Definitely not. Did I use that word correctly? Schadenfreude?
Yep, certainly did.
Okay, we have a native German speaker in the audience confirming. Yeah, Schadenfreude is the opposite of metta, basically. Don't do it. Naughty, naughty. And similarly, really making an effort to do things with our body, doing benevolent things with our body, doing kind actions. Noticing whenever we're hesitant to do something for others, whenever we're hesitant to do kind deeds, looking at that hesitance. What is this hesitance? We should be jumping with joy at the opportunity to do kind things for others, the opportunity to cultivate good karma, the opportunity to build up the factors of enlightenment. That's what we're doing. When you do kind things for other people, that's what you're doing. You're laying the paving stones of your own path to enlightenment. Why would you skip such a beautiful opportunity? I don't want to do this. Well, what good is that going to do you? That's just ripping up the paving stones. That's not going to help anyone. Also, nobody likes a lazy person in a monastery, it has to be said. So cultivating that mind of like, oh, I have this wonderful opportunity to do kind things for others. Note I said do kind things for others, not think about kind thoughts for others. Do kind things for others. Again, physical metta, body metta, not just mind metta. But of course, everyone likes to think that Buddhism is just meditation. So now I'm going to talk about meditation. I've actually been talking about meditation all along, by the way. So if you think that meditation is just what you do when you're sitting cross-legged in a quiet room, clearly you haven't been paying attention. You haven't been watching these talks, or you haven't been reading the suttas. And that's fine because you're starting. Everybody starts somewhere. So meditation, briefly speaking, is bringing into being wholesome states of mind. So you can do that anywhere at any time, eh? So whether you're listening to a Dhamma talk, or whether you're sweeping the floor, or whether you're writing a report, or whether you're looking out the window, or whether you're sitting full lotus in a meditation hall. In all of those conditions, you can be cultivating wholesome states of mind. Which is not to say that formal meditation practice is not important, because formal meditation practice is extremely important. And it's what gives power and strength to our every ordinary activity meditations. But optimally, in every state of mind, in every condition, we're cultivating wholesome states of mind. So in every activity, you can be cultivating the state of mind of metta. But during formal meditation practice, is when we focus entirely only on developing wholesome states of mind. So not being distracted by any other activities, but just focused on the activity of meditation and nothing else. So in doing metta meditation, there's many different methods that you can read about and hear about, using different words and phrases, different visualizations, different images, different concepts. And that's all fine if it helps you produce the mind state of metta. If it helps you get in touch with that feeling of unconditional, unlimited, boundless goodwill, then it doesn't matter what words or phrases or images or concepts you use, because all of that is just skillful means used to help you get in the mind state of boundless, unconditional, unlimited loving kindness. So you'll hear all the standard things, like first wishing, may I be happy, and then wishing, may my loved one be happy, and then may the neutral person be happy, and then may my enemy be happy. And that's fine if it helps you produce a mind of loving kindness. Other people will say, well, first you should wish, may everyone in front of me be happy. Then may everyone behind me be happy. May everyone to my left be happy. May everyone to my right be happy. May everyone above me be happy. May everyone below me be happy. That's fine if it helps you produce a mind of loving kindness. Or people who start with a feeling of loving kindness here, may I be happy, and then radiating it out as an ever-expanding sphere. That's also fine if it helps you produce a mind of loving kindness. Or the way that I normally teach is to start by picking someone who you care about in a very simple and uncomplicated way, wishing for them to be happy. And that's fine too, if it helps you produce a mind of loving kindness. So it doesn't really matter what method you use to produce a mind of loving kindness, as long as that's what you get. And the important thing is, once you start to get the feeling of loving kindness, drop everything else. Because at that point, all that other stuff will just get in the way. If you're still thinking, that person is my enemy and I am wishing for my enemy to be happy, may my enemy be happy. If you're still thinking that way, your metta practice will be extremely shallow. It will not go deep. It will not be a factor of samadhi. It will not be a factor of awakening. It's better than nothing, but it won't be strong. It won't be powerful. It will not lead to deep samadhi. It will not radically alter your mind. It will do some superficial transformation, which is way better than nothing at all. So I do want to emphasize this. It's perfectly fine to use any method at all that produces metta. Anything at all that starts to get some metta going. Because some metta is a whole heck of a lot better than no metta. However, if you want to truly understand what the Buddha meant when the Buddha was speaking about unlimited, boundless, immeasurable metta, then at some point you need to drop these concepts of people, these concepts of me and them, these concepts of the ones I like and the ones I don't care and the ones I dislike. You need to drop these concepts. Because that's not immeasurable, that's measurable. That's not unlimited, that's limited. That's not boundless, that's bounded. So at some point we need to drop all of those concepts and just focus on the feeling itself. The feeling itself innately has no boundaries, innately has no people, innately is not limited to one group or another group. It's just metta. just boundless, limitless, immeasurable, infinite benevolence. That's all it is. There's no concept of time in metta. There's no past, present, and future. There's just metta. There's no inside and outside. There's no edges. There's just metta. And another interesting thing that happens as your metta gets stronger and stronger, well, first off, euphoria becomes very intense, which is one of the reasons why metta naturally leads into samadhi. As the euphoria becomes stronger and stronger, the mind becomes increasingly unified. And as the mind becomes increasingly unified, jhana starts to come within reach. Starts to become possible to enter states of very strong samadhi. That's one natural effect of focusing on the feeling of metta. Again, not getting caught up in the skillful means that we use in the beginning to get the metta going. But the metta itself, once you get really deep into it, then samadhi becomes natural. Another interesting effect is that the apparent solidity of phenomena starts to dissolve. The more you focus on metta itself, the less solid everything seems. In other words, the development of metta can help one develop the recognition of impermanence, anicca sanya. And even when the mind is completely immersed in metta, you can start to notice the metta itself is fluctuating, which means it's also anicca. It's also impermanent. And of course, since we're letting go of all the concepts of self and other as we immerse fully into metta itself, then this is also naturally leading to a recognition of not self, of the impersonal nature of all things, the fundamental selflessness of the universe. So metta practice, it's often spoken about as being just a samatha practice, just a tranquility practice. But actually, it's a great springboard for insight meditation as well. It's a great way of starting to get the mind into that recognition of the insubstantiality of phenomena. It's a great way of starting to let go of the concepts of self and other. So don't write off metta practice. Metta practice can be incredibly powerful. Can get you right into jhana, samadhi. It can lead to a realization of impermanence, and it can lead to letting go of the concepts of self. So metta meditation can be a vehicle that can bring you all the way to full awakening. So it's something to really cherish and value and explore. And nice side effect, by the way, people like you more. When you do metta regularly, frequently, people like you more because you're a nicer person. And people usually like nice people. So nice little side effect, by the way, of metta practice is people like you more. Another nice little side effect, you like yourself more. Trust me, nobody likes a grump, not even the grump. So when you flood your own mind with metta, then you actually want to be with yourself. You actually like yourself. And you actually want to be fully present with this mind because it's a nice place to be. It's a pleasant place to hang out. And then that also makes it easier to be fully in the present moment. So it also supports your mindfulness practice. So again, the point I'm really trying to get across here is don't neglect metta practice. Number one, don't neglect metta practice. 2, cultivate it through body, speech, and mind. So through physical actions and speech, as well as through mind, no matter what you're doing, and in meditation practice. 3, metta meditation has nothing to do with words, images, or concepts. Those are just skillful means coarse and clumsy tools that we use to help us access the subtle, refined mind state of metta, the feeling of metta itself. So those are the points I really want to get across today. And the final point, once again, is that metta practice is a gateway to jhana, to anicca sanya, and to anatta sanya. So it can be an incredibly powerful way of developing both samatha and vipassana. So I think that's all I'm going to say for this evening. So at this time, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante, for sharing those words of Dhamma with us. And Gita also says thank you, Bhante Suddhāso. And thank you to Aya and all other Bhantes. Boundless thank yous. And welcome as well to Melinda, Angela, Putarika. And Angela says, may you be happy, Bhante.
Oh, that's kind. You too.
Like we've mentioned, if you have questions at any time, both on Instagram Live and YouTube Live, feel free to type them into the live chat and I will read them out for Bhante Suddhāso. Adine says, I can do bodily and speech acts of metta, but it's hard for me to conjure metta mentally. It needs to be grounded in deeds, or it feels kind of like thoughts and prayers. It feels flimsy. Any help with that?
Yeah, well, you've already started to get a sense of that, in that if you do and say kind things, then it's easier to produce a mind state of loving kindness. That's true. As for the mind state, well, just notice, like when you're about to do something kind for somebody, notice how you have a mind state of wanting them to be happy. So then in meditation practice, actually one technique I knew somebody who had a lot of success with, one technique they would use is they would think of somebody and they would imagine giving that person a gift, something that person really wanted. And they would imagine that person getting really happy. And this was a way of helping them get in touch with that feeling of wanting someone to be happy. So this was all in the domain of imagination and visualization. But it was a way of helping remind themselves of what it feels like to want someone to be happy, based on imagining or visualizing or remembering doing something to make someone happy. Yeah, it sounds to me like you already have a sense of what metta is. It's just a matter of finding the mental methods that help you get in touch with it when you're doing meditation practice.
And Yudi has a somewhat unrelated question, but
Go ahead.
I said something to my son for his well-being, but he hung up the phone. He said he had just worked 11 hours. I felt bad. I wasn't speaking at the right time. How do I train in proper right speech?
Well, first off, apologize to your son. Just tell him, I'm sorry, that wasn't the right time. I'll try to be more considerate in the future. And actually, the way you train yourself in that particular one is always to be considerate. Before saying something, to really carefully investigate, is this the right time? Is this the proper time? And actually, sometimes even just asking the person, just saying like, is this a decent time for me to bring up something? And they might say, no, I just worked for 11 hours. Maybe you can tell me tomorrow. Or they might say, no, and it never will be. And well, in that case, what are you going to do? But making the effort, because criticism given at an improper time is often completely unproductive and can even be counterproductive. So make the effort to try to figure out what the right time is. Sometimes there never is a right time, and in that case, you just do the best you can. You just accept that it's always the wrong time. But usually you can try to figure out what times are better than others. So the mere fact that you're asking this question indicates that you're already exploring how to train yourself with right speech. So keep reminding yourself of the 5 basic principles of the right time to give admonishment. And one of those 5, by the way, is to do so with a mind of mettā. So the prerequisite then is to know how to have a mind of mettā. So keep practicing mettā. Practice a lot of mettā. I know you're a hate type. Practice a lot of mettā every day. If I didn't practice mettā every day, I would be much less tolerable. So practice mettā every day. And then having that mind of mettā when you're ready to deliver some constructive criticism will make it much easier. And also it means that you'll be more likely to follow the other 4 principles of delivering constructive criticism, which I've spoken about in the past, so I'm not going to go into it at this time. Okay.
And Bhavani asks, Namaste. It's difficult for me to practice metta and not to become a doormat. Please enlighten me.
Because you also have metta for yourself. Metta is not, may everyone except me be happy. Metta is, may everyone be happy. So if you are allowing others to harm you, then you are not practicing metta. Okay.
And Jim says, could you say anything about that state of mind where you want someone to be happy, but it turns into, grr, why aren't they happy yet?
Yeah, that's called attachment and expectation. So loving kindness practice needs to be tempered by equanimity. So equanimity is accepting that ultimately everyone is experiencing their own karma. Which, in other words, it means no matter how much we want other people to be happy, it's not up to us. Okay?
And Kauser Friend says, if we cultivate a mind of metta well and throughout the day, won't our thoughts, speech, and action also come from that wholesome place automatically, or is extra effort required?
In theory, it will come automatically, but pay close attention. Don't let your guard down. The Buddha said we should always be vigilant. Because often we think, oh, I've been practicing metta all day, so that means my actions and speech will automatically be metta, right? But in actuality, we've got a lot of subconscious defilements, a lot of unwholesome habits lurking in our subconscious mind. And if we're not vigilant, then those will float to the surface and express themselves. So pay close attention. You might think, oh, I've been doing metta all day. It should be fine. But then you accidentally say something nasty to someone and you're like, well, where did that come from? And it came from what you were doing yesterday when you were actually hating unkindness all day. Or it came from your last lifetime when you were a serial killer. So don't underestimate your own subconscious mind. It's full of nasty, horrible things. Okay?
And on Instagram, there's an unrelated question.
Mug chat.
So, Tata, if you can re-ask your question on Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. New York City time, we, a panel of 3 mystery monastics, will answer it. But if there are any questions on tonight's topic of metta, loving kindness, benevolence, feel free to type them in. But as of now, doesn't seem like there's anything further.
Anything from the monastery residents? maybe that's it for one evening.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight and for all of your questions and attention. So tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. we'll have Sutta study again. And then in the evening, some meditation and a Dhamma talk. And Sutta study on Friday morning as well. But then Friday evening, like I mentioned before, if you have any lingering questions or any questions related to Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, feel free to bring them to Monk Chat on Friday night. So we can end this evening with 3 sadhus.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And enjoy the rest of your night.